Around the middle of 2025, I had the sudden itch to get back into handheld gaming. With all the algorithms and brain rot we have access to our phones, I really wanted something more substantial to do as an activity during those short breaks of time I have as an adult. And don't get me wrong, I still love PC gaming, but there's just something so charming about whipping out a handheld from your pocket during that 5 minutes on the train that I wanted to have in my life. So throughout 2025, I've explored multiple types of handhelds and tried my best to show you guys my experiences with each one. I started with the Switch Lite, made a video about that, then I decided to get into the 3DS for the Pokemon games. We got a taste of the emulation handheld space with the Trim UI brick. I upgraded to a V1 Switch and to eventually an OLED Switch. I even had a Steam Deck on my desk at some point this year, all of them giving us different flavors of gaming. All had their own charms, but I think the device we are covering in today's video might be my favorite one out of the bunch. Meet the DSI XL. Initially, I was enjoying my experience with the 3DS, but if I was going to be brutally honest with you guys, I bought that system for one game and one game alone, Pokemon Platinum. I'm probably carbon dating myself with this sentence, but Pokemon Platinum was my second Pokemon game to experience, just after I finished Pokemon Leaf Green on the Game Boy SP back when I was a kid. I also consider it as the best Pokemon game of all time, full stop. This was the peak of Pokemon, and the DS era was the peak of the series in general. We had Diamond and Pearl with Platinum as the definitive 4th gen experience, the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes, arguably the best Pokemon remakes of all time. Then we had Pokemon Black and White with Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, 4 great games of their own accord. And this isn't just my nostalgia glasses being rose tinted, by the way. A majority of the wider Pokemon community consider this console generation the best there ever was, and with how the Switch Pokemon games have released, it's probably gonna be the best there ever will be. Unfortunately, and you'd know this pain, if you play DS games on the 3DS, it just doesn't hit the same. The screen is a bit wobbled because the resolution isn't scaled properly, especially if you're using a XL model on the 3DS system. The pixels are stretched, and with the screen being purposely built for the 3D mechanic of the 3DS, there's a bit of a grainy texture there that I don't really like. I get very dizzy when doing that, even if the 3D option was on. So with all of this in mind, and with these group of games that I just talked about, that was enough for me to go scouring on Facebook Marketplace for a good deal on a cheap DS system. I needed that late 2000s console, and I wasn't above haggling an old lady for a cheap DS. At first, I was really looking into getting a DS Lite since the 2006 console had access to a GBA slot, and with Leaf Green being my first ever Pokemon game, I wanted to fulfill my nostalgia of playing that too, especially on original hardware. However, after a few days of researching and with Isaac OS's video about the bigger console, I decided to go for the DSI XL. The DSI XL was released on November 21, 2009 in Japan, with its release in Europe and North America following in March 2010. It was the 4th iteration of the DS handheld and the biggest one of the bunch. While the DSi's design is similar to the DS Lite, this one was 93% bigger on the screen size and was marketed more for adults. It was marketed as a e-reader, it was also marketed as a camera substitute, but in today's space, it's mostly just used for DS games. We all know this. The cameras, while quaint and very fun to mess around with, doesn't hold a candle to even the cheapest phone that you could get in today's era. It doesn't have a GBA slot, but it has an SD card slot, which is very good if you want to mod your console and don't want to go through the flash card route, which is what I wanted. I didn't really want to mess with the R4 card. I want to have the option to play the DS cartridges if I want to, so the options really were just a DSi or a DSi XL. Let's look at the unit I got and talk about the prices. I got this burgundy red, almost maroon color DSi LL. That means this unit is a Japanese unit for only $45 US. The average price of a DSi XL hovers around $70 to $60 US, so I got a pretty good deal from this one. You do have to keep in mind that Japanese units are usually cheaper, so you have to factor that as well. It came with a USB-C to a, what do you even call this? A DS charger adapter? Either way, it didn't come with any memory card, any games. It didn't even come out with this crystal case. So I spent a total of 10 bucks to get the remaining parts, the crystal case, the memory card. I modded it myself and all. And initially, I was kind of scared because if you look at the screens right here, it has a bit of a yellow tint, which is very normal for DSI LL models from Japan. From the research I done, it's because of their humidity there. I don't really know the scientific explanation behind it, but I do know that it's common with Japanese models. The DS is coming up to almost 20 years old now, so signs of aging will always be there no matter what you want, unless you buy a still in box model, which I'm not gonna do because that shit costs way too much. I got myself a 64GB Kingston SD card so that I could mod the system and put my ROMs in, which I legally got because I have all the DS consoles of all time. Trust me, chat. I've been playing it for almost a month now and I've been having such a blast playing Heart Gold and Platinum again. Like I said earlier, one downside of buying a Japanese console is that with the humidity of Japan, it's very easy for the screens to yellow if you haven't used it for a long time. That's why if you check at Mercari or if you even check some of the Facebook Marketplace listings in the Philippines and in Japan, these countries and their humidity really affect handheld consoles in a way that won't affect the consoles if they were in like America or Europe. So most of the units you'll find are either yellowed if it wasn't used for a long time or just flat out not working at all. So I'm very happy with the quality of screens that I got, especially in today's market where I feel like everybody is trying to find a handheld console nowadays. Have you guys seen the 3DS prices? It's insane, and it makes sense because the RAM prices, because PC gaming has been exploding in prices. Have you guys seen how much RAM is nowadays? It's even affecting some of the current gen console prices. Xbox has upped their prices 2 times this year. Even Nintendo with their Nintendo Switch has upped the prices after the Switch 2 released. I don't know what's happening in the world, man. That's why majority of the people are just looking back into retro options. There's just been a resurgence of interest with these types of consoles. Overall, this system, even after 20 years, is still such a good piece of hardware. The design doesn't feel like it's been 20 years since it released, and you can't forget about the games library of this thing, man. I talked about the Pokemon games earlier, but there's the Sonic games, the Professor Layton games, a huge following with the Kirby games from this era. I've heard great things about Animal Crossing Wild World. You can't forget about Mario Kart DS, arguably the best Mario Kart, and I'm gonna fight you if you disagree with that. Mario 64 was on this thing, bro. New Super Mario Bros was also on this thing. It was amazing. I can't wait to try out the Ace Attorney games for this device as well. To be honest, I just wanted to gush about this device because this device, with all of its flaws, with its age, is my favorite device of 2025. But yeah, that's my experience with the Nintendo DSi XL. I wonder what handheld I should go for next. I've been looking into the 2DS and I kinda like the doorstop design. So if you want to see that video, like and subscribe so that I could get the money to buy that shit, because that shit's expensive nowadays. But yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next episode, okay? Peace out.